Hi crafters, it's Karen, and right now I'm working on creating another mini album. This time I'm creating one inspired by Tim Holtz. What I mean is I want to create an album using all of the different supplies that I have from Tim Holtz. I'm using this paper collection. It's the 8x8 collage collection, really sweet. I plan on using some Tim Holtz ephemera that I've collected, like the small talk and the chit chat and the different dies that, the different dies that I have for Tim Holtz, the little alarm clock, all of these things that we've all collected over the years. The metal embellishments, yes, so that's the style that I'm going for this particular mini album. So, but I thought this would be the great opportunity to do this tutorial because I've created a few mini albums lately. I've gotten a lot of requests to share with you how I've been putting my albums together as far as the binding, the pages, my covers, and everything else. And I realized that I have so many new subscribers, and I want to welcome you all to my channel. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I wanted to share this because I've gotten so many requests. I definitely wanted to take the time to do this, and I realized that a lot of my new subscribers might be new to mini albums or new to the concept of mini albums, or perhaps they've never created one before. So so that's why I wanted to do this video. I know there's hundreds of tutorials out there on how to create mini albums and pages and the binding and this and that, different styles. But and then this is just going to be another one of them. However, it's what I do. It's what's easiest for me, and it might be just as easy for you. So I thought I would share it. So the first thing we're going to determine when creating a mini album is what are you going to use for your pages, because you need to know that before you create your binding. And for the binding, we're going to do the stack the deck method that was created by Laura Dennison, and there are also several tutorials out there on how to do this binding as well, including another one on my channel. But I'll go through this with you again because I know I have several new subscribers. So anyway, for your pages, I tend to use envelopes simply because it's the easy way out. I know that there's several tutorials out there on how to create your own pages for this. Ginger over at my sister's Scrapper, I believe that's her YouTube channel, has a tutorial on how to create your own pages to work with the stack the deck method. So anyway, I just tend to use envelopes because for me it's easier and quicker. So so you're going to need at least 6 envelopes. One, obviously one for each of your pages. This particular envelope I'm using is from Recollections, and it's from the cards and envelopes set. We've all seen these. I'm using the craft ones because craft ones tend to be stronger, more sturdy, but also the color matches the style album that I'm creating. So anyway, and this particular envelope measures about 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So because it measures 5 1/2, I know that's how long I need my binding, my hinges for my pages. I need these to be as long as my pages. I need my hinges to be as long as my pages. So that means my hinges need to be 5 1/2 inches long. Okay? So that's that. Now to create these hinges, you need a 5 1/2 sheet of paper, and the dimensions, these are the dimensions that you're going to want to write down. however long your pages are. Like for me, it's going to be 5.5 inches, and the first hinge will be 1 3/4. Excuse me, 1 3/4 by 5.5 inches. 1 3/4 this way by 5.5 inches. Then cut another strip that will be 2 1/4 inches by 5.5. And then cut another one that will be 2 3/4 by 5.5. Then you're going to take all of your strips. See, and I can't ever create these without this little cheat sheet. So then you're going to take all of your strips, and you're going to, what do you call it, emboss them? No. What do you call that? What do you call this? For heaven's sakes. You know what I mean. Oh, score it. You're going to want to score each strip 3/4 on each side. So you're going to take your first strip, score it at 3/4 of an inch on that side, flip it 3/4 of an inch on that side. Take your next one, do the same thing, 3/4 of an inch, flip it 3/4 of an inch, and your last one as well, 3/4 of an inch, flip it 3/4 of an inch. You want to score them real good, and you know, fold them out real good, because this is what is going to hold your pages together. And then you're going to put, as I've done here, you're going to want to put your score tape, or I guess you could use wet glue as well, your Scotch Quick Dry or your Fabri-Tac or what have you. I use my scrappy tape, which is very similar to score tape, except the price is much better. And I get this at scrappal.com. So that's what I use for my albums. But you're going to want to put your score tape over all the hinges. Here's the first one. You're going to want to adhere your tape here on both sides of your hinges. That's these things, your wings. And then also on the back side, down there. So once you have all of your pieces taped, you're going to want to put them together. So you just stack them. And that's basically it. And then you end up with something like this. This is your binding. This is what is going to hold your pages together in your album. Now, the center of this, see the center here? It's 1/4 of an inch. And each one of these pages is going to give you 1/4 of an inch to play with. Now, if you need more than that, like if you're creating an album and you want to use flowers, let's say, you know, some of the pretty Wild Orchid Crafts flowers or the Recollections flowers or something like that, you can make these bigger. And when I say bigger, I don't mean that the wings on either side bigger, but make the hinge themselves bigger, like 1/2 an inch, so that it gives more room, like this. And I know several people create their albums with their pages being 1/2 an inch apart from each other rather than 1/4 of an inch, because it does give them so much more room to embellish. So you would do the same thing. The first one would be a 2 inch by 2 inches by as long as your, you know, however long you need your hinge to be, depending on your pages. But you would score each side 3/4 of an inch on one side and 3/4 of an inch on the other side, and the center is going to be 1/2 an inch. For the next one, you need it to be as big, you need it to be 1 inch larger than this one. 1 inch larger because you need it to be 1/2 an inch larger on either side. So anyway, for this one, it would be, this next size would be 3 inches. And you would adhere this one here like this. So you would have this page a 1/2 inch get space or whatever. Then the next page is here. Do you see what I mean? The next one would be 4 inches wide. And you would score it 3/4 of an inch on either side. And you are left with the center to be 2.5 inches. And you would just stack your decks of hinges together like this. And then each of your pages are 1/2 inch spaced by 1/2 inch. And that would give you enough room to embellish with some of those chunkier embellishments that we like to play with. But then it also makes for a large bound album. And for me right now, I've, you know, 1/4 inch between my pages is plenty. I hope I've explained this in a way that you can understand. If not, I'm going to leave the link to my previous Stack the Deck tutorial that I have on my channel. And that one, I was really clear in that one. Anyway, so then you adhere your hinges together. And you have score tape on either side of your little wings on either side. Do you see? Okay, so that's so that you can slip your pages on to the wings. So for the pages, like I said, I always use envelopes, and you're going to want to seal your envelope with your ATG gun or whatever adhesive you choose to use. Seal it. Then you're going to want to cut just a sliver, just to open it up on one side, so that it can be open when you slide it onto the wings of your hinge there. Do you see? So you're going to create 6 of them. Take 6 envelopes and do the same thing. Okay. And then you're going to want to consider whether you're going to want tags coming out of your pages as well. So, an example, this is the latest album that I created for Diamond Dies. This was made with envelopes as well. And for this one, I knew I wanted to have tags come out of my pages for more room for, you know, whatever, photos and stuff. So you just slit the other side. So if this is your page, you're going to want to slit the opposite side as well. Okay, that way once it's on its hinge and it's a page, it's open, so you can use it for tags. See? Okay? Now that's how I've done the several previous albums, but for this album that I'm creating, I decided rather than having this side open for tags and extra photos, I wanted to have my tags come out of the top. So I cut a slit on the top of my envelope. Once I sealed it, then I cut a slit off of the top. And let me show you. I'll go through these in a moment with you. But here is one of my envelopes. I sealed it. I distressed all around my envelopes with the Ground Espresso Distress ink. I cut my slit on that one side. And then, because I'm going to want a tag coming out of the top, I also slit it, you know, off the top. And I mean just take off a very sliver of a piece. Okay? So that's how this particular album is going to be for me. Now for my different pages, as you can see, like in this one, sorry, like in this particular album, I have, well, that's pretty self-explanatory. Hold on. Okay, here we go. I have, you know, pages that flip out. I have, like this this is a paper bag, and it flips out, and there's a tag in the top, and it comes out like that. Okay. For that type of thing, this is how I do it. For my first page, I have a little pocket here. And for this little pocket, as you can see, a tag will go in there or something. For this little pocket, I just took another envelope. So another of the very same envelopes. So I took another envelope, I sealed it, the same as I did with these other ones. And then I kind of cut it down to size a little bit. I slit the top, I scored it, appropriately, however, I figured out how much of the envelope did I want folded over here. You see what I mean? And so I scored it and folded it. Let's just fold it for the illustration. And I have my envelope here, and then I have my pocket, and this is slit at the top, right? So I just put my score tape on the back here and adhered it right close to the edge, where this is going to be adhered to my hinge. I adhered it right up close. I adhered it, and then I adhered my paper over it. And there you have it. Sorry. And then there you have it. And that's how I did those envelopes. I hope I'm getting I hope this is you're understanding this. I hope I'm not overcomplicating this, because it really isn't complicated. It's really quite easy. Okay, so that's how I did that one. And then, of course, there are pages where I just have simple flaps. And for those pages, I used, those envelopes come with note cards as well. So I just took a note card and I, cut it down to the right size. I made sure that I had it at least an inch, to adhere it to my page. And I did the same thing. I have my envelope, except I wanted it to come this way. I put my score tape or my scrappy tape here, adhered it, and then there's my other flap. Now for several of these, I am using magnets, and these magnets are from Basic Gray. I think you could still get them at Joann's.com. But anyway, they look basically like this. And any type of flat magnet would probably work. Those are just the ones that I have. So for that, before you put your paper on here, you just adhere one of the magnets. And the magnets are already self-adhesive. So you put a magnet on. And then you have to measure so that, you put the opposite one on the other side before you adhere this paper on. So you put the magnet in, and then the paper on top of the magnet. Okay, and that will help keep those flaps closed. So that's how I did those. Then I do have this set of pages where I am actually using. Oh wait, let me show you this other. Sorry. Then for this set of pages over here, as you can see, this is a paper bag. It's one of these paper bags. This is just from the dollar spot at Target. I got it a while ago, but any of these types of paper bags would work, because they're thinner. They're like those glassine bags, right? So yeah, that's what I used. And of course I had to cut it down, but I cut this section off because I need this part to still be sealed. So anyway, I cut it down to size, and then I just scored it at like 1/2 inch or whatever. And that's basically it. I mean, I put my scrappy tape on there, put it on the page, adhered my paper over it, or if I am going to use a magnet, put my magnets down and then the paper on top of it. And then I have a little paper bag flap and another nice place for another tag. And that's what that is. So that's cute. Okay, then for this set of pages that I'm working on right now, I'm using a paper bag, an actual paper bag, as you can see there. And here's the paper bag. And obviously it had to be cut down. Here it is. It had to be cut down. So I cut it down to, figured it out how much I wanted flapping over my page. I cut it down. I don't need this bottom portion, so I cut this bottom portion because my tags are going to be inserted sideways for this particular one. So I cut it down. I scored it so that I had about 1 inch. And I have my score tape there, or I'm sorry, it's not score tape, it's scrappy tape from scrappal.com. But I have my scrappy tape there, and it's going to go down. For this one, I'm not going to use magnets. And do you see how I adhered this paper bag to this page? I adhered it, and then I put some scrappy tape along the edges so that, when I go to put this on, I'm going to use my ATG tape to adhere this page to here. But just so that, to give it extra stick adhesive along the edges here of where my bag is, I used scrappy tape because it's so strong. And I'm just going to adhere my page on top of the scrappy tape, and then there you go. And then I used my 1-inch hole punch. I used my 1-inch hole punch and just cut cut half of the circle out to make a little place to pull out a tag or whatever. And I didn't cover this with paper because I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I'm thinking I might want to put some lace on here or something. I don't know. But I wanted to do something different besides paper. Maybe some stamping or mixed media. I don't know. So anyway, so that's how we adhere that one. So that's what let's adhere this right now. I hope I've explained this in a way that is clear. I tend to trip over my words, and I'm the type of person that I need to watch somebody do it. I'm a visual learner, and I know a lot of you are like that as well. Whoops. So, sorry, I got this tape stuck to me. Okay, so I know many of you are like that too, visual learners. It's easier if I watch somebody do it, then it's easier for me to pick up on it. That's for my next page. Okay, this is the page It turns out that this particular paper collection that I'm using, the collage, there's a lot of travel themed pages. So I'm using the picture of the map of the United States for this particular page. I know, I'm clumsy, using all these tools and this and that. Okay, make sure it's right side up. Line it up to the bottom. And make sure, make sure that, you know, there's no interference when I want to fold this back, that there's enough space there. So I'm going to move this in just a bit. And when I create these albums, I mean, let's face it, I don't go for perfection. Maybe you've caught onto that. But yeah, I don't tend to make myself too crazy. Because in the end, once it has the paper and the embellishments and eventually the pictures or whatever you're going to do with it, you know, in the end, a lot of the little flaws that you make yourself crazy over aren't even noticeable in the end, because, you know, the attention is all on the paper and the embellishments and photos or what have you, the tags and this and that. So I'm giving this another good crease because I want it to stay, you know, closed on its own for the most part, you know. Now, because this is a paper bag, I did put some adhesive in between here so that it wouldn't flap, you know, all the way open within my book. And that was just a personal preference. But there's a place in here for 2 tags. Do you see? It makes for a little separation there. So it'll be cute. So that's one page. Look at that. Cute. Okay, so that's one page. And this is the other page. This is the last page of my book that I'm working on. And this one is going to be this way. This page will open up like that, and you can pull a tag out or pull a tag out here. And this one, you can pull the tag out this way, and it opens up like this. So that's how I want that to go. And this is the side that will go to be hooked onto the hinge. Okay. I really didn't want this video to be this long. Let's see. Let's measure it so at least they're about the same distance on the page, if you know what I mean. And you want to be very careful so as not to have it overlap onto, you know, your middle binding there. These aren't going to be completely even, but like I said, it's not worth it to make myself crazy. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it like that. And I'm going to put some, do you see how this opens up? And even though there's going to be paper here, so it'll be sealed off, I'm going to put tape here just to reduce that ridge there when I go to put my paper on. So, and I'm going to adhere the tape while it's already folded in so that, you know, it already has the give. Because papers tend to shift when you, the paper tends to shift when you open and close it. So, there we go. So adhere this. this. Okay, now it's ready for paper. And where did my paper go? I'm using this sheet that has the different license plates on it. And I think I've already distressed it. I'm going over everything with the Ground Espresso ink by Tim Holtz. I love that new color. It's much richer and deeper and a more brown color than the Walnut Distress ink, which I also love. Okay. Now I realize I think I have this upside down because I wanted it to open this way. Okay. Whoops. Well, that's going to be fine. It's a little higher than I wanted, but I don't want to try to pull it off and redo it because I don't want anything to tear. So it's not overhanging or anything, it's just a little higher on the page than that I wanted. So where's my score thing? Whoops, see, I'm so clumsy. There we go. Take the hole punch and just do half circle, just enough where you could reach your fingers in and grab the tag. And there you go. One page. 2 page. So there you go. I also have put together my binding, or have my binding, or my covers all set to share that with you as well. So I'll come back and do that next to show you how I put my covers together and how I put my my pages onto my hinges. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.